All right. Section 3.4 is pretty straightforward, and you can probably get it done real quickly here. A couple of things they talk about. One is commutative property, and commutative property basically says you can perform an operation in any order. Now this only exists with two operations. Commutative property exists in addition and multiplication. Now, what it's saying is, if I do 4 plus 3, that is no different than 3 plus 4, right? The way I add them is going to produce the same answer. Multiplication is commutative because if I do 4 times 3, that is no different than 3 times 4. Okay, so the commutative property says you can add two numbers in any order, or you can multiply any two numbers in any order. It's not commutative in subtraction because if I look, is 5 minus 3 equal to 3 minus 5? No, this gives you 2, this gives you negative 2, not the same. Now, like terms are terms with identical variable expressions. Alright, such as if I look, 3x and 2x are like terms. 6x squared and 5x squared are like terms. So we can combine those like terms, and you and I have done a few lessons on that, so that should be pretty straightforward. So what they're saying here is, in this lesson, the main thing is how to add two functions together. And basically, when you add or subtract, you're basically simplifying the expression and combining like terms. For example, if I'm doing f plus g of x, meaning I'm basically taking f of x and adding g of x together. So f plus g of x is basically taking f of x, which is 6x minus 2, and adding g of x, which is 2x plus 4. And here, I'm just going to combine like terms. So, 6x and 2x go together, negative 2 and 4 go together. So when I simplify this, it would be 6x plus 2x is going to give me 8x. And I always take the sign to the left. So this would be negative 2 plus 4, different sign, so I subtract, and I take the sign I have more of, which is plus 2. So that would give me 8x plus 2. However, when I subtract these functions, it's a little different, not much more difficult. Okay, when I subtract them, I'm basically going to take f of x, which is 6x minus 2, and I'm going to subtract g of x, which is 2x plus 4. The only difference between adding and subtracting is before I subtract, I have to distribute the minus sign. So I bring the 6x down, the minus 2 down, distribute the negative sign. A negative times a positive is a negative 2x. A negative times a positive is a negative. So 6x minus 2x would give me f minus g of x is 6x minus 2x is 4x. Then negative 2 minus 4 will give me minus 6. Okay? Alright, the next one. Little more different, right? So when we do f plus g of x, right, you're going to get 6x squared plus 2x minus 7 plus 4x minus 3. So f of x is 6x squared plus 2x minus 7 plus g of x is 4x minus 3. Now when I combine like terms here, there's only one x squared term, and I have 2x and 4x go together, and then negative 7 and negative 3 go together. So in this case, f plus g of x would be 6x squared, then 2x plus 4x is plus 6x, negative 7 minus 3 would be minus 10. Now when I subtract them, right, I would get f of x would be 6x squared plus 2x minus 7, then minus 4x plus 3, 4x, excuse me, it's going to be minus 4x minus 3. So in this case, before I do anything, I basically bring these down, and I distribute the minus sign. So it'd be minus 4x, then a negative and a negative make a positive 3. So that would give me 6x squared, then 2x minus 4x would be minus 2x. Negative 7 plus 3 is minus 4. Alright, and that's what you would get when you subtract them. Okay, this one here, when I do f plus g of x, right, I'm going to add them together, so I get 2 to the x minus 3x plus 1 minus 2x. Remember, this is 2 to the x power. It is not a like term with 2x. So I bring the 2 to the x power down. Then negative 3x minus 2x is going to give me minus 5x, and then plus 1. And that's what you would get when you do f plus g of x. Now, f minus g of x, right, that's going to be 2 to the x minus 3x, all minus 1 minus 2x. So what do I have to do first here? I'm going to bring down the 2 to the x minus 3x, distribute the negative, negative and a positive make a minus 1, negative and a negative make a plus 2x. And now, 2 to the x, negative 3x plus 2x is going to give me minus 1x, then minus 1. And this is what I would get. Okay, so now, if we go to fill in the blank here, it says the commutative property holds for the blank of functions, but not for the blank of function. It holds true for the addition of two functions, but not for the subtraction of two functions. Okay? So what I would like you to do now is print out the checkup practice problems, attempt them, and then come check your answers, okay? If you can check them online, or you can check them via video. But if you get one wrong, please go back and look at it. So if I add these together, okay, so if I go ahead and add f and g together, right, so you would get 3x plus, or sorry, excuse me, you get 3x minus 7 plus 2x minus 4, which would give you 5x minus 11. Okay, now if I go ahead and subtract them, I would get 3x minus 7 minus 2x minus 4. I go ahead and distribute the minus sign. That would give me minus 2x plus 4. That would give me x minus 3. Okay, I'm going through these quick so you don't have to sit there and wait. The next one is a little more complicated. If I do 2x plus 3 plus x squared plus x over 2 minus 7. So what I like to do is write the highest exponent first. So I'm going to go x squared, cross it out, I've used it, but then 2x plus 1 x over 2 is the same as 1/2 x. So you could basically say that this would be plus 2.5x, and then 3 minus 7 is minus 4. Okay, so you could also do fractions there if you wanted to. Now if I subtract them, right, that would be 2x plus 3 minus x squared plus x over 2 minus 7. Bring these down, distribute the minus sign, so that becomes negative x squared minus x over 2, and then a negative and negative make a positive. So I would get negative x squared. Okay, let me bring this up a little. I would get negative x squared. Then 2x minus half x is going to be plus 1.5x, and then plus 10. Alright. Then here you would have 5x squared plus 3 plus x squared minus 7. So that would give you 5x squared, and x squared would give you 6x squared minus 4. Then the next one, 5x squared plus 3 minus x squared minus 7. When I distribute that minus sign, I'm going to get minus x squared plus 7, because a negative and a positive make a negative, negative and negative is positive. So 5x squared minus x squared would give me 4x squared. 3 plus 7 would be plus 10. Okay? Alright, then you get this one. You would get 4 to the x plus 3x plus 2x minus 5. You get 4 to the x plus 5x minus 5. Okay? And then number 8, when you go to subtract them, you would get 4 to the x plus 3x minus 2x minus 5. So bring these down. So 4 to the x plus 3x. Distribute the minus. So minus 2x. Negative and negative is plus 5. Remember, 4 to the x has no like terms. 3x minus 2x is plus x. And then plus 5. Alright. Now this is the one I want you to do. The revenue from selling X tickets is R of X equals 10X. The cost of buying them, right, is 8X plus 40. The profit from selling X tickets is P of X equals R of X minus C of X. So what is P of X? Well, P of X, you have to understand, is R of X minus C of X. So in this case, it would be 10X minus 8X plus 40. So when I go to evaluate P of X, right, I'm going to do 10X minus 8X minus 40, because I have to distribute this minus sign. So it's going to be 10X minus 8X is 2X, and then minus 40. So what is the profit for selling 100 tickets? Well, you got to remember, when they're giving you 100 tickets, if X equals the number of tickets, then X is 100, and all I have to do is evaluate that function when X is 100. So P of 100 would be 2 times 100 minus 40. 2 times 100 is 200 minus 40, which is $160 would be the profit. Okay, go ahead, attempt a quiz, do the online test, see how you do.